Good morning. Hi you guys. I hope that you're having a wonderful Wednesday. I'm recording this and it's Tuesday afternoon. But I hope that your Wednesday is going well so far. So what I need from you guys is to get your little floppy dry erase pocket out if you haven't already, and I'll need you to get out the side that has your 3 digits here and your 2 digits here. So it should say like 3 digit by 2 digit at the top. If your sub needs to pause this right now so that way you guys can get ready, she can go ahead and pause it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so last class yesterday, I taught you guys how to multiply 2 digit by 2 digit decimal numbers together, right? So for example, I'm going to use this even though it says 3 digit by 2 digit because I can still make it work, right? Okay, so for example, if we wanted to do 3.2 times 1.7, right? I would write it at the top, and then when I fill it in, I'm going to put my 3 here, my 2 here, and then where's that decimal point going to go? Right in the middle. So you guys can go ahead and do this with me with your dry erase floppy thing. Okay, and I want you to go ahead and plug in your 1.7 and show me where it's going to go. Okay, so you should have done something exactly like that, right? 1.7 there. Okay, so we've set this problem up, but we're not completely ready yet. We still need to write something to the side. MZ, MA, many zoos, many animals. Remember, that tells us what we need to do. And then there's one more thing that we need to do when we're multiplying decimals. I hope you guys remember. If I was there, I would call on you, but I'm just going to show you. You should be drawing your little arrows to the side here, and that's going to tell us how many digits are to the right of the decimal place. Okay, so in 3.2, 3 and 2 tenths, I have my decimal place. How many digits are to the right of it? You should be writing a 1 right there because we have that 2, that 1 digit to the right. Okay, what about 1.7? How many digits are to the right? You should also be writing a 1 there. Okay, awesome. So before I even want to go ahead and solve this, I can go ahead and tell myself that I know how many digits are going to be to the right of the decimal point in my final sum, in my answer. I'm going to remind you that you look at this, you look at this, and what do? You need to add them together. So we have 1 plus 1 equals 2. So that means that I'm going to have a digit here, I'm going to have a digit here, and then I'm going to have my decimal point right here because I know I need 2 digits right after my decimal point to the right of it. Okay, so now I've set up my problem completely. I'm good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and solve it. I want you guys to go ahead and solve it on your own. Your sub can pause it, and then she can play it when you guys are ready for me to go along with you, okay? Okay, so right now, you guys should be done with this problem. You have paused it for however long you need, but I'm going to go ahead and start it. So I have my M. This M stands for multiply by the ones. I'm going to stick with my red circles here. 2 times 7 is 14. I need to carry that 110 though. Then I have 3 times 7. Notice I'm sticking with my red circles. 3 times 7 is 21, but I have that 1 above it, so it's really 22. If I had another digit, my 2 would go over here, but I have no more, so my 2 can go right here. Okay, I've checked off my M. Now I have my Z. My Z stands for 0 as a placeholder. There we go. Check that off. Now I have my second M, multiply by the tens. We're in our boxes now. And if you wanted to, you can go ahead and cross that one off right there. Okay, I have 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. No more digits, so I am done with my second M. Now I have my last step. I have A, which is add. 4 plus 0 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 3 is 5. If I was doing whole numbers, I'd be done, but I'm not. I'm doing decimal numbers. So remember, I had 1 digit to the right here, 1 digit to the right here. I already figured out I need 2 digits to the right of the decimal point because 1 plus 1 is 2. So if I put it here, that would not be correct because I would only have 1 digit. If I put it here, that would not be correct because I would have 3 digits. So I need to put it right here. I have 2 digits to the right of my decimal point, and I have finished. My answer is 5.44 or 5 and 44 hundredths. Amazing job. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is, this should be kind of review. Also, I can check off my A. This should kind of be review because this is all that you did yesterday. You guys did a lot of practice problems, and I heard that you did a great job, so amazing. But there are some more complicated problems that you're gonna see today. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just move this down. You can go ahead and erase your floppy thing, and we're gonna look at a more difficult problem, okay? You may be wondering why I have the 3-digit by 2-digit. It is because we are multiplying 3-digit decimals by 2-digit decimals today, okay? So I'm gonna give you really easy digits to start with, so that way we're not being confused by multiplying, and then we're gonna move on to like a normal one, okay? So this first one I'm gonna do is gonna be, let's do 1.5 times 0.24, okay? So I want you to write that at the very top. 1.5 times 0.24. 1 and 5 tenths times 0 and 24 hundredths. Okay, so here's the thing. When I am writing out my multiplication problem vertically like this, it really doesn't matter if my larger or my longer, not necessarily larger, but my longer, like it has more digits, is first or second, right? When you're comparing how many digits there are, this one has 1, 2, this one has 1, 2, 3. It really doesn't matter which one comes first. But when I'm multiplying vertically like this, I need to always make sure that the number that has the most digits needs to be on the top. Remember, I'll show you, we kind of went through this when we were multiplying. Like, let's say this number was like 15 times 121. No decimal points. I wouldn't do this, right? That wouldn't make any sense. I would not do that. I would put 121 on top, and then I would scooch that 15 all the way to the right, and that's how I would solve it. It's the same thing that goes when you're multiplying decimals. So first you check which one has the most digits, and then you're gonna put that one on the top. So does 1.5 have the most digits, or does 0.24 have the most digits? I want you to write the one that has the most digits on the top. You should be writing 0.24, right? And you're gonna put your decimal point right there. Okay, so I've done that one, check. I'm multiplying it by what? 1.5. I'm gonna put my decimal point right there. So I've set up my problem, but I'm not really done, because remember I have my M, Z, and A. And then I have to do a few more things before I can start this problem. So remember, I have my arrows. These arrows are gonna tell us how many digits are to the right of my decimal point. When you're looking here, what would you put? What number would you put here? 1, 2. You'd put a 2 because there are 2 digits to the right. This one, you should have a 1 right there, right? Okay, so I can go ahead and know that how many digits are going to be to the right of my sum, or of the decimal in the sum. They're gonna be 3 digits, because 2 plus 1 is 3, okay? So I've gone ahead and I have already set up my problem. Remember, my one with the most digits is gonna go on top, and then that one goes on the bottom. Okay, so now we can go ahead and solve this. I gave you an easy one, so we could just ease into our 3-digit by 2-digit, but let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna have this pause this so you guys can solve it. You can play it when you're ready. By now you should be ready, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I start with my circles here. 4 times 5 is 20. Carry my 2. Then I'm sticking with my circles. 2 times 5 is 10. Can't forget that 2, so that's plus 2 is 12. 0 times 5 is 0 times 5 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. 120. Okay, I've multiplied by the ones. Now I have my 0 as a placeholder. Moving on to multiplying by the tens. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 0 is 0. If you wanted to put that, I can cross these out. Okay, so you should have 120 plus 240. 0 plus 0 is 0. 2 plus 4 is 6. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then we can have that 0 there. Okay. This is what we should have, but we're not done yet. where does my decimal place go? You should have it right here because you need to have 3 digits to the right. 1, 2, 3. If you didn't have this 0 here, that's okay, but remember I want you to have that 0. You can add that 0 before it just so you make sure you can see that decimal point, right? Okay, this is your answer. Great job. Okay, we're gonna do one more practice one on here, so you can go ahead and erase it. I'm gonna move on to this one down here. This is gonna be our last one that we're using our graphic organizer for. We're gonna be moving on from our graphic organizer to just being able to solve these on paper, which is a little bit more difficult, but I think you can do it. Okay. So, you should erase it. Now I'm gonna give you a bit of a more difficult one, okay? Okay, let's do 5.8 times 15.0. That's the same as 15. Okay, so I have 5.8 times 15.0. I'm gonna let the sub pause this so you can go ahead and get this set up and solve it. So I'm gonna let you go free reign on this. You can set this up and solve it. If you guys are struggling, then she can go ahead and play it and I can walk you through it. I'm gonna walk you through it at the end, but I want you to try by yourself, okay? So sub, pause it. Okay, by now you guys are either struggling and you need me to walk you through it, or you guys are ready for me to check your answers with you, okay? So if we go back up here, remember we said that the number with the most digits needs to go on the top because that makes more sense. Which one has more digits? 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3? Obviously 1, 2, 3 does. So we're going to put 15.0 here. And then we have 5.8. 5.8. There we go. Okay. MZMA to help me. And then I need to figure out how many digits are to the right of my decimal point. I have 1 digit to the right, and I have 1 digit to the right. So that means that in my answer, how many digits are going to be to the right of the decimal point? 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay. Check that you have yours set up like this. And then we're gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're multiplying by the ones first. 0 times 8 is 0. 5 times 8 is 40. I'm gonna carry my 4. 1 times 8 is 8 plus 4 is 12. Okay. Add my 0 as a placeholder. Now I'm gonna move on to multiplying by the tens. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25. 1 times 5 is 5, plus 2 is 7. So you should have 1, 2, 0, 0, plus 7, 5, 0, 0. Okay, now I can add it. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 2 plus 5 is 7. 1 plus 7 is 8. I'm not done yet though because I need to check and place my decimal in the correct place. I need to have 2 digits to the right. If it was here, you'd have 1 digit to the right. If it's here, you have 2 digits to the right. So my final answer is 87 and 0 hundredths, or it could just be 87. Okay, hopefully you got that one right. What I want you to do now is I want you to erase your floppy thing, and I'm gonna show you how, what you're gonna be doing this week for your weekly work. Okay. Okay, so you should be erasing this. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is, okay, so I'm actually going to be changing this worksheet because it has this like weird line there that I think they're supposed to be helping you, but it really is not helping you. I think it really confuses you. So I'm going to be changing this worksheet, but it's basically going to look exactly like this, except this line's not going to be here, okay? But I'm going to show you exactly how you can be solving these problems, even if it doesn't give you this, okay? So I'm going to be really awesome, and I'm going to let you use your floppy sheet to solve these problems. Like, I'm going to give you the option. You can use it on your quiz. You can use it on your test. You're always going to be able to use it because I think it really helps you. But on your worksheet, you need to be able to look at this and see, oh, I can still solve this even if there's not squares and circles and the little housey box things, okay? So I'm just trying to show you this because in middle school, you might not be able to use this necessarily, okay? So, like I said, you will be able to use it and it can help you, but I want you to be comfortable with solving them on your own. But ignore this line. I really don't know why they have that line there. Okay, so the very first thing is they have already lined this up for you, which is really, really nice. This would be the same thing as 7.98 times 4.0 or 4.0 times 7.98, okay? So I'm gonna put MZMA to the side there because I know that's what I need. And then remember what else I need to do? I need to draw my arrows there, okay? How many digits are to the right of the decimal point here? We have 1, 2. How many digits to the right here? Just 1. So we know in our answer, we are going to have how many digits to the right? 2 plus 1 is going to be 3. Okay, like I said, this line here is going to confuse you, but on your weekly work, you're not going to have this line here. I'm just using it because I didn't have whiteout at home. Okay, I have my MZMA. I don't want you guys to get freaked out because you don't see circles and squares here. You still know what to do, and if you need to, you can go and use your floppy thing and plug these numbers in and still know how to work it out, okay? But let's try without it. So our first thing is we're going to do multiply by the ones place. The ones place would be this. Normally it would have a circle around it, and we're going to stick with our circles. 0 times 8, or 8, 8 times 0 is 0 times 8 is 0. 9 times 0 is 0. Then we have 7 times 0, 0. Very easy. There's no more digits to multiply by the ones. I'm going to check that off. Now I have my z. I need to add a 0. That 0 is my placeholder. It's right below our first digit that we wrote here. Okay? Can check that off. You're halfway done. Now we're going to multiply by the tens. 4 times 8 is 32. Now we have 4 times 9, which is 36, plus 3 is 39. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 3 is 31. There we go, okay? You have multiplied it all together. That's amazing. Now you have to add, okay? Like I said, ignore this line. I don't know why it's there. Add them all together. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. 0 plus 9 is 9. Then we have 1, and then we have 3. Okay, we're almost done. We've already figured out that we had 2 digits to the right here, 1 digit to the right here. We need to have 3 digits to the right here. It would not be here because our decimal point would not be here because then we'd only have 1 digit. Here we would have 2 digits. Here we'd have 4 digits, 5 digits. We need to have 3. So we have 1, 2, 3 right here. So our answer is 31.920, okay? You can check that off. Okay, like I said, this is going to be your weekly work. I want you to be able to get to the point where you're comfortable solving problems without using your graphic organizer with the circles and the squares. So what I'm gonna do is you're gonna have a worksheet that looks very similar to this. I'm gonna show you, okay? It's gonna look very similar to this. It just will not have these random lines in the middle, okay? What I want you to do, I'm sorry, it's not focusing. Okay, what I want you to do when you are working on this is try your best to solve it without using your circles and squares. But if you are having a really hard time and you're just getting confused and you think you're getting them wrong or you just need some more help, then you can go back to using your floppy thing to write out your answer or write out your problem and plug them into the graphic organizer, and then what you can do is just write your answer right here and you can box it and you can be done, okay? So try doing it like this. We're gonna work on that even more next week, but you are allowed to use your graphic organizer. Okay, I'm gonna show you what else you're gonna be doing for your weekly work this week. So your first thing is you're gonna have a practice page like this. Your next thing you're gonna have is what's the mistake? You guys know how to do these. So remember there's a problem here. This is how they solved it, but they are wrong because they have a mistake. You need to tell me what is the mistake, what should they have done instead. You're going to solve this correctly, and what's the reason that they made this error, okay? So this is your second thing you're doing, and you're gonna have one more thing. Okay, this looks like a test. It is not a test. This is practice because pretty soon you guys are going to be taking the Terra Nova again. That's going to be assessing to see whether you learned anything this year, which I hope that you have since last year. I just want you guys to be comfortable seeing problems like this because this is how your test, your Terra Nova test is going to be. Okay, so I know that there are lots of words here, but there are really only 6 problems here, and they all have to do with decimal points. And almost all of them have multiple choice options except for these 2. Okay, so inequalities, when it's asking which inequality, that just means that it's not like an equation that has an equal sign and a plus sign or multiplication. It's comparing. So you're going to see which one of these is true. You guys have already done that. You know how to do that. Then Michelle has 0.5 pounds of red peppers and 0.50 pounds of green peppers. Which number sentence correctly compares the amount of green or red and green peppers she has? You're going to see which one is that. Okay, these 2 are the ones that you might be confused about. You can ask your sub and Miss Pagano to help you, but what it's really asking you, you need to make sure you're reading the question. A truck stopped at a weigh station along the highway. The sign read maximum weight 40.3 tons. The truck weighed in at 40.09 tons. So you need to compare this weight and this weight. Is the truck greater than the maximum weight? You guys can tell me whether or not you think it is. There's going to be 2 more questions here. I'm sorry if I'm shaking. I have to hold this so you can see it. And then Chloe lists the types of trees she saw on her class hike. She noted that 0.36 of the trees she saw were oak trees, and 0.3 of the trees she saw were maple trees. Write an inequality, so something like this, where you're comparing those 2 numbers to compare the amount of maple and oak trees, okay? So you're going to say like 0.36 is greater than or less than or equal to 0.3. What I would say to you is there are a different amount of digits here. What would you put after this 3 as a placeholder or just as something to show you what would be there, how many this would be? You'll see when you're solving that problem, but you know how to do that. So all of these questions you guys know how to do. I'm not concerned about it. As I said, I want you guys to be more comfortable with seeing these kinds of problems. So that's why we're doing this. So again, you have this. What's the mistake? You're going to have a practice problem page that looks similar to this, okay? Good luck, guys. I know you're going to do great. Ask your sub if you have any questions, and she can shoot them to me, and I can answer them for you, okay? I miss you a lot. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.